Peace, Water fam. I am back with a topic of discussion. It looks like it just started. Peace, Water fam on YouTube. Um, and the topic of discussion today will be shadow work and my offering of doing personal shadow work readings as well. So let's just get into it. Um, I keep looking at both screens. Okay. I'm gonna wait a little bit before I get started. How y'all feeling? I do still have, if you've been watching my stories, I still have my birthing outfit on because, as I mentioned in my story on my Instagram, is that shadow work is very much a long process, like pregnancy. And you will go through many of them. Something just flew on me. And you will go through many deaths and rebirths, at different points of your life. Depending on your birth chart, shit, that might be a daily basis thing. If you're like me. But shadow work is definitely just a journey and it's a process, and you can reach a level of completion, but there's more levels to it, right? So yeah, we're gonna talk about it. I'll wait a few more minutes. Might as well go ahead and shuffle some tarot real quick just to see if there is anything that we can discuss at some point of this live. Funny. Okay. Right on time, huh? Right, the energy's in alignment. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started because I'm just like super excited. I'm gonna start with a poem that I wrote in, I want to say 2016 or 2017. In the darkest hour, alone with burdening thoughts, waiting to be acknowledged. To end this tug of war, our brains become so worn from habitual patterns, projection of shadow that lurks thirsty for compassion. Instead, dismissed by reaction or simply ignored. How many distractions before judgment is destructive when fingers point, emotions spread like wildfires. You circle the source that lies within. Truth denied, pinning your heart to its slow demise. You blame others for what you feel inside. Healing is honoring the flow of blood that keeps you alive. So let those feelings flood. Then truth becomes light, casting shadows into foresight. Okay, so actually, I need that open. But that is a poem I wrote based on my personal experience of shadow work. And just so you all know, I speak only from my experience. I do not research like anything until I have like real serious questions that I feel like I can't answer. But 9.5 out of 10 times, like it's going to be me speaking from my experience, what I learned, and just from my heart to yours. Research does help. I'm not against it, but the reason why I'm making that be known is because you can research something all day and still not really understand something until you go through it. So I'm not going to share or speak on anything that I have not been through. My wisdom is my guide. Knowledge is great. Knowledge is everywhere. But how many times do people study something and then can't apply it? Okay, so discernment, y'all. Pick your teachers wisely. Anyways, shadow work. I'm a freestyler, so I'm just gonna like look at my notes briefly, but I don't like being too planned. So I'm gonna kind of freestyle with this. So I took some brief notes and points that I already made. So, shadow work is a process of undoing who you think you are to realize who you really are. Now, to go deeper into this, what I mean by that is we all go through some type of conditioning on a subconscious level. Our conditioning doesn't even have to necessarily be intentional. It's just we experience things, and without the proper skills or assistance around us, we don't always learn how to really integrate and digest and release from our energy and will what we've been through. So then we're left with the impact that it's made on us, and we basically go on autopilot through life, believing that we are what we've been through. And this, again, it's not on a conscious level, this is subconscious. So you may move on thinking you are the hottest shit ever, or just amazing person, but then you run into something and then you're insecure and you're losing confidence, or you're feeling, not good enough, when all this other opposing energies challenge the way that you see yourself, or the way that you have created a new image of yourself that you think would be more acceptable by humanity. But internally, you feel completely opposite. So, who you think you are is usually a byproduct of what you've been through, what people have said to you, what you've even told yourself after going through certain experiences, and then allowing it to stick to who you are. Or I say, or another way I would put it is when you trade a part of your essence for something false. So if you are actually good at communicating, let's say, but then something happens where miscommunication affects you and somebody that you love, and now there's separation, now there's heartbreak, now there's anger, now there's frustration and clashing. You may tell yourself, I'm not good at communicating. And then and that's just simply a belief that you create after going through an experience that impacted you to make you believe something different about yourself that is false. But this is what we carry. These are the things that become our image, or what we blame ourselves for if it occurs again. We begin to trauma bond with our own insecurities, our own fears, our own mistakes, even, or just ways where, or not even ways, but with our experiences that uh, changed us, or changed the way that we perceived ourselves, because we allowed an outside or external influence to do that. And it's on a subconscious level, so it's not even like intentional, but these are the things that we pick up on our journey. Lies, different beliefs, um, new images, new, you know, roles, whatever, that is influenced by our pain, our anger, our, feeling like we need to hide something about ourselves so that we don't have to confront that pain again. But what shadow work does is it brings you into a healing chamber of realizing that your experiences do not define you. Um, your experiences happened for you, not to you. It shows you who you were before that impact occurred that made you leave out of your body, or leave a truth about yourself to take on a lie. Um, Shadow work is looking in the mirror and acknowledging what's hidden behind the image I'm describing to you, the image that is false, the image that is what we put on in order to be liked or loved, or avoid having to deal with what we did when we were just being ourselves, right? Um, Shadow work also is a way to teach yourself how to regulate your own emotional body. So when trauma or impacts happen to us, um, like I said, we don't grow up typically, moving forward. I feel like the generations coming now are going to have more success and help with this, but most of us that are adults did not know or ever learn how to regulate our emotions. So, for example, something impacts us like a death of a family member, and nobody can see how deep that may have impacted you, but you know how deep it impacted you. So deep that maybe you became numb. Maybe you began to do something different, like you started going out more, you started getting into unhealthy relationships, or just something to cope, something to help you cope with the grief. Because now a part of your light or essence has left your body due to the heavy emotional impact of dealing with a very unexpected or maybe expected death of somebody you deeply love. And now, when they left, a part of you has left, because that's how deep the impact goes. And when you really don't feel safe in your body, or you don't feel safe, or you don't feel safe in your mind, then it's easier to just hide and put away parts of yourself and take on something new that in a way seems to repress having to deal with the impact anymore. So now you're and when we look at ourselves in the mirror and realize that who we've become after we've been impacted by things affected us on an emotional level that even penetrated us spiritually, to leave our bodies, our soul, our minds, and just created a void in us that we now fill with different distractions, different coping mechanisms, different things to fill in that space. A lot of hell, it seems like, or karma, it may feel like, or just trying to basically live without a very essential part of yourself, or just an awareness of yourself, because now it's been put in the dark. It's been rejected by you, because whatever impacted it was so strong that it overwhelmed you. And when you don't have the skills to regulate yourself emotionally, it's easier, like I said, to just go on autopilot and go through the motions of life, move on, and just kick rocks, right? But then, sorry, my connection is pausing. I'm gonna do my best to stay patient with Instagram, but oh my goodness. So once we go on autopilot, going through life, here comes a new situation. And how do I have poor connection when I'm literally right here by my Wi-Fi? Anyways, I'm sorry, that's distracting me. I don't like that it keeps pausing on my Instagram live. And so basically, we go on autopilot. We live with these new versions, like this new image of ourselves that we've acquired, because we no longer feel safe being who we really are, or feeling as deep as we once felt. So now we move forward into our life and end up confronting new situations that trigger us, because it brings up what we've ran away from, what we've avoided, what we've said that we got over, and now here comes something new that may have similarities, or is able to reach you in a space within yourself that nothing else was able to, or since that time of experiencing an impact on your emotional body or trauma. And then it's like that message that we left unread, here we are having to revisit it and respond, because the shadow seeks for your compassion, seeks for your attention, seeks for your love and nurturing and your healing, because you are your own medicine. That is one major thing that shadow work taught me, is that you are your own medicine. Okay? Shadow work helps us change from self-avoidance to self-acceptance. And one example I want to use is primarily relationships, because relationships are the most revealing when it comes to what we need to work on internally. Relationships act as mirrors. Now, not everything that's reflected back to us is our own. Sometimes it's for the other and only the other. But when you begin to feel triggered or experience a reaction to what somebody said or did, it's easier to blame them and just think that it's only about the moment, right? But little did you forget that you actually had some accumulated emotions and experiences that you've been harboring that could only release through this trigger that this person is facilitating in your life for you. So yeah, some people come in our life to play the bad guy or the devil's advocate, because we're being so slow. We're being so slow about returning to ourselves within and giving ourselves the right amount of attention and time and space, even to really address the things that are causing us pressure, that's causing us pain, that's causing us anger, sadness, depression. Because what happens is, when you experience something that impacts you on an emotional level, and you got to think all the way back to a kid, it can be something really small. But in your world, in your consciousness, it is so huge, because when anything impacts us, it almost makes us like second guess ourselves. It makes us question ourselves. It makes us doubt who we are. It makes us, confused. And that is an overwhelming reaction to that impact. And the easiest thing for most people to do for survival, because I'm not judging you, I've done it. We've all done it. I'm not judging anyone. But we, out of survival, decide I'm going to detach completely from this aspect of myself, my essence, because that's what you leave. You leave your essence where it is. And like I said, you have now this void, or this space within you that is filled with addictions, habits that don't serve you, just coping mechanisms. So going back to relationships, it's like when you're experiencing something that is triggering you in a relationship, it's not a call for you to blame or criticize or try to change your partner. It's more of a call to practice emotional regulation. And that's where shadow work is very helpful, where we then learn accountability through shadow work. Accountability then shows us that my pain, my issue, my loss of my own light and essence and truth and power, even, did not happen because of this person in front of me. In fact, this person is helping me realize when I let go or when I sacrificed a part of my essence and lost my balance. And now here I am in an intimate, vulnerable, personal connection with someone that I'm exploring on an emotional level. And here I ran into an emotional block. Shadow work opens a door for us to confront our blockages, the things that we've repressed, the things that we've denied. And so it's important to be able to know when to go into solitude or go into hermit mode, because not because for some people I know shadow work, like for some people it can be a trigger. Hold on, it's paused on my Instagram. But sometimes it can be a trigger for people to feel like they have to go be alone to deal with their heavier emotions or insecurities and feelings. So you have to be conscious of, like, what is it that you need. Um so this is why I'm offering now a service of being an ally to you. Hey. This is why I'm offering service to be an ally to you, to help you go through your own personal shadow work, because a lot of the times, like, trying to do that in your relationships with your partner is really going to take a toll on your connection, because it's a lot of, like, they have their own shit. I'm not gonna lie, they have their own shit. So it's like, your relationship is supposed to be a safe space of love, connection, beauty, fun, lightheartedness. But when you're bringing your heavy baggage and energy and past or traumas or the things you need to work on in your relationship with yourself, oh my God, my Instagram is just pausing. When you try to bring that inner turmoil into your connection and seek their counsel, you end up changing the relationship, and then the relationship is most likely to fail, because you're putting your needs, like, this is a need that you're responsible for, but now you're trying to make your partner responsible for it. And a lot of times in relationship, it translates as you try to control your partner by controlling them to not do or say or act certain ways because you don't want to be triggered, right? So it kind of defeats the purpose to try to do that in a relationship with somebody. Kudos to those who can manage all of that in a relationship, but I am offering to be your ally in shadow work, and I'm offering a personal service where when you do confront a trigger, or if you know that this is something you've been struggling with for some time, then I will be your assistant, with getting through that, or your guide with going through your own dark night of the soul, because it's very, for others outside of you, I realized in my own experience that it's very difficult for people to fully empathize and to have compassion for something that they cannot see. So in my cultural background, we traditionally had shamans, healers that would be able to hold that safe space for you. And so that's what I'm offering others now, is to hold that safe space for you in order to receive spiritual healings and guidance, and just a higher perspective over you and your life and energy, help you navigate this dark night of the soul. I have a question. What if I'm not going through nothing? How can I watch? How can you watch? Can you kind of elaborate on your question? Shadow work, just to kind of answer a part of that question, what if I'm not going through anything? Okay, well, I would ask you, what area of your life are you not experiencing fulfillment? And to really be honest with yourself. Because even if, like I said, we can move through life on autopilot thinking that we're okay and everything's all right and life is what it is. My channel, um, Oh, I do more stuff outside of the shadow work discussion. Yeah, I do have other videos on my lives. Um, Thank you for tuning in, by the way. Welcome to the Waterher family. Um, but yeah, I do plenty other readings and different things that I'll be sharing. Join me on my Instagram Waterher community as well too. That's in my bio or the description box. Anyways, so to kind of like answer that question, like what if I'm not going through anything? Well, I would say like a lot of times it feels that way, like you're not going in through anything. And most of us will, in some capacity, isolate ourselves or avoid dealing with certain experiences because we know that it will get into a part of our emotions that may, ruffle up some energies that want to be released. So it's easy for people, like I said, to have their own coping mechanisms that allow them to avoid themselves and to avoid, you know, their deeper desires of where they are seeking more fulfillment, more connection, more freedom, more power, more, just more. There's always a point in life where we just want more, even if life is good, even if um, things are okay. So, going back, I will answer some of those questions after I finish my topic. I'm almost done. But thank you for being tuned in. And so, shadow work, going back on topic with moving from self avoidance to self acceptance, shadow work will kind of understand more of what it is we're experiencing on a subconscious level because your outer world is reflecting, what it is you believe, what you feel capable of, what who you are or who you think you are. Because sometimes who we are is very much put beneath um, and hold on, I see questions. I'm sorry, I get easily distracted. Do you stream? I will be streaming every day. I will be streaming every day. Yes. Um, Let me go back to my notes. This is why I'm glad, because I'm like, there's so many distractions on here. Self avoidance and self acceptance. So let me just start over. So when we are in this shadow work, we're learning how to move away from self avoidance to self acceptance. So, like I was saying, our subconscious projects a reality around us that we think is safe, right? Because a lot of times we've conditioned ourselves or been conditioned by our experiences to accept certain things, but then reject other parts of who we are. Okay. So you can create a good life through only accepting 50% of who you actually are and deciding to avoid and deny a whole other half of who you are and still relatively live a good life. However, there's going to become a point where you want more, or people get into creating like secret lives or double lives, or just having to sneak around and explore different parts of themselves that socially they feel isn't accepted because they're not able to be in their truth or be in their light and live authentically as a complete individual or a whole individual. So shadow work is a journey that you take inward to mend those broken pieces of yourself to become whole again. And what's breaking us apart internally is the lies, the influences, the interpretations we gain from what we go through, the humiliation we experience, the embarrassment, like, I will never love somebody like I did that way, or I will never do this for somebody again. And it's like, but what if that is your gift? What if that is your power? So you give up your power, you give up your gift, you give up your light, you give up your abilities, nothing that ever goes deeper, because if it went deeper, then it would start penetrating your walls, which would then make you have to confront your deeper rooted insecurities. That it's very easy to just live on autopilot until you start seeking more, or feeling like there is more for you, or that there's ways you want to come out and explore yourself that you are afraid to, because maybe you were judged, maybe you were shamed, maybe you were made to feel weird or odd, or just something where it just was not accepted. So, shadow work, after looking in the mirror, realizing that you've created an image of yourself that you think is going to be more accepted by others, which I feel like puts most people in a people pleasing state of energy more than pleasing who they are. Not to say we should be self centered tyrants, but just living authentically in your truth and allowing the healthy connections in your life that love you for who you are and don't think you need to be something else to receive their affection, love, or acceptance. And and really, like, relationships that only reflect that because you change or you are hiding who you really are, like, that is only a reflection of, like, your own personal beliefs. Like, you feel like you can only receive love, connection, unity, community through projecting a particular image that you feel is more safe and socially accepted. But when you actually journey inward and realize that you are the shit and you can accept yourself, and that you can love yourself back whole, or you can decide to let go of limiting beliefs, you can decide to forgive the past, you can decide to allow yourself to heal and reclaim your personal power, your essence, your light, your truth, the things that you let go of when you were impacted by an experience, then your life begins to change, where you let go of everything, you let go of everybody, you let go of all of what you thought was your truth, or what you wanted, or what you felt was good for you, and you go through a complete ego death, because all trauma bonding does, because look, guys, like, trauma bonding starts internally. Like, when you trauma bond with your own wounds, your own insecurities, your own fears, then it begins to manifest outwardly as trauma bonds. Your subconscious is what's powering your reality, and you begin to address these subconscious beliefs, and what experiences in your life influence them, or what opened you up to make a change in who you are, and leave behind your truth and your power and what makes you unique. Um, then you start accepting yourself, you start really loving yourself. um okay, cool. Look, I'm like, people making comments, cool. That sounds awesome though. I like that. And when you really start sorry, I just want to give people attention, right? um ugh, stretch my leg out. But when you really start to journey inward and accepting yourself, and realizing, like, damn, I gotta go through an ego death because none of this shit is really allowing me to be who I really am. It's like you let go of everybody, you let go of everything, you let go of careers, you let go of everything. And sometimes, like, life even forces us to, because like, God wants to get because God does intervene to give you another chance to actually live in your purpose, and live in your truth, and understand that the happiness and fulfillment you seek is not from people pleasing and being what others want you to be, but actually coming into a full acceptance of yourself and living from that space of, like, I only want to deal and be in situations, or be in environments, or be in jobs, or have a career that accepts all of me, that loves all of me, that I can fully be seen in. So I did share that I would open up about some of my own personal experience. So before Water Her became a thing, I was so afraid of telling people or admitting or wearing the label of that I'm a seer or that I'm a healer or that I like to do tarot readings. Like, this was something I was so private about. And I was very private about it because as a child, um, I learned from my family that this was something that people would call you crazy for. Like, my family didn't call me crazy, but they wanted me to keep this part of our lives sacred. You know, I do believe in keeping things sacred and private, but literally I would hear like, oh, people are going to think I'm crazy. People are not going to believe me. People are going to say this about me. So I picked up subconsciously that, like, oh, it must be bad to be like this, or it must be, um, like, people will judge me. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be not liked. So as a kid, I picked up this belief very early that this was something to hide about myself. So I never really felt comfortable being open and showing people that this is who I am. So it wasn't until I went through my own shadow work journey, and I didn't know I was doing shadow work. I was just pregnant. And that's why I'm wearing my birthing outfit, because shadow work is literally a process of rebirthing yourself. And oh, that's nice. And I remember, like, it just all started with, I was like, what, 18, 19? I just knew that I had a very deep desire to be able to be myself and be able to redefine who I am. Like, I was already, like, before pregnancy, I was already on this, like, journey of, I want to reclaim my power. Like, I don't want to react to my family anymore. I don't want to argue. I don't want to be what I feel like everybody made me out to be anymore. I want to know who I am. I want to define who I am. I want to get closer to myself. Like, I just had this instinctive desire that, like, like, I literally cut off all my family. Like, I literally just, but it was not even that, like, I cut them off. It was just God put me in a position where I'm states away from family and I'm by myself. So now I can just literally experience myself without other people's interpretations or projections or beliefs being put on me to, like, distract me or make me take on what they think I should be. So now it was like I'm in, and I was very rebellious too. I was like, I don't want to go to college right away. I don't really know what I want. Like, y'all not about to pressure me. Y'all not about to make me be somebody that I don't even know who that somebody is. Like, y'all just want me to go do stuff, and I don't even know what I want to do it for, or what I want to do. Like, I don't even know myself. All I know is what y'all tell me. And so I just was in this stage of just like, I want to know who I am. I want to know myself from myself. I didn't want nobody outside telling me, because it's like everything people were telling me outside was just, like, making me depressed. So I was in a dark night of the soul, and I was already, like, before I conceived my daughter, like years before I conceived my daughter, I was already, like, on this journey of just redefining who I am, but really just embracing, like, who I have always been and just reshaping my lifestyle around that. And so I began to take on courses and classes and found my own tarot deck and just started exploring my interests. And then when I got pregnant, I went deeper into, like, what is it that I'm afraid of? Like, why do I care what people think? Like, I began to become conscious and aware of, like, how all this fear about what people think about me or what people say, like, I was already being judged so heavily, where I just got to a point where I was like, I don't give a fuck. And so out of seemingly nowhere, after doing a lot of shadow work, like, I have journals. This is one of my journals from that chapter of my life, where I have pages after pages of just different things I was learning and reflecting on, to really grow into a confidence that I had lost in being this version of myself. So then once I healed that and got over that and just realized that, like, you know what? Like, I like me. I then changed this account from being like a family blogging account, which which was something that I thought everybody would like and accept and enjoy, like pictures of your family, like why not, to water her. Because my spirit said, you need to change this to water her. My spirit said, you need to share this knowledge. You need to share this wisdom. You need to teach. You need to get comfortable be on the camera. Like, believe it or not, like if you go back to my Instagram videos, like my early videos, I was very afraid and had social anxiety about getting on the camera. I really did. I was like, I stepped fully out of my comfort zone. And that's what shadow work helps us do as well. It helps us step out of limiting beliefs. It helps us step out of comfort zones that really were stifling zones, that were blockages in our journey of really fully expressing our life mission, our purpose, and our unique essence and gift that we are to the world. Like, who wants to be like everybody else, or who wants to be normal, or who wants to be, you know, a copy and paste version of somebody else? Like, um I do write stories, and I am a writer. If you're serious about that, I am a writer. Like, hit me up. Follow me on my email is in my description box, or you can follow me on Instagram. I write poetry. I started this video, like, come on, like, I'm all for the collaborations. Come on. Anyways, back to topic. So, it requires shadow work for me to grow in confidence and courage, because as a child, like I mentioned, I didn't have confidence, and I was sure scared of being called crazy and made fun of, if I was like, oh, I'm psychic, or oh, I see ghosts, or like, I talk to spirits, or I like, like, I grew out of that from my shadow work, and I became open and expressive about this nature of myself, and it's been the best thing ever. But I could have not done that without shadow work. you know so what else? Shadow work is introspection, it's reflection, it's commitment to change that will resolve your trauma bond. So I had a trauma bond to being afraid of being called crazy, um, feeling rejected, for being this type of individual or having this type of essence about myself. Like, I didn't feel like it was socially accepted at all. Um, and so when I resolved that trauma bond, I was able to set myself free, and I was able to actually express my true, authentic self to you all openly, unashamedly, unapologetically. So, in that journey as well, I began to also go deeper into shamanic healing. So, that is when I remembered that I had the gift of soul retrieval, because I didn't have nobody holding my hand, helping me with any of this. Um, I didn't have a friend to talk to about any of this. I didn't socialize with people. I was completely isolated, completely alone. All I had was my daughter and my husband at the time. But my husband wasn't like me. Like, he wasn't very, you know, we were not the same in that regard. So it was even uncomfortable even having to kind of expose and share more of this side of myself with him. Though he didn't judge me, it was just we could not relate on that level. And so a lot of my personal healing and shadow work was alone. And at that time of learning about shamanic healing, I ended up going into soul retrieval. And I realized that shadow work is very similar to soul retrieval. And this is why I say it's important to have an ally in doing it, because by the grace of God and my spiritual allies and my ancestors, I was able to do it alone. But truthfully, you can journal all day. You can, you know, deal with so much on your own, but you really need people Like even in my journey of shadow work, like I still needed experiences or just interactions because I didn't have a lot of people around me at the time. I just had like my daughter, which my daughter, like it's crazy. Like parents will even say that. I feel like even parents in general, I feel like parents in general will kind of describe their journey of becoming a mom or dad or growing into that role after their child is born as shadow work. They may not say it's shadow work, but they'll say, "Oh, my child, like, man, they made me see where I needed to be more patient. They made me see where I need to be more kind. They made me see that I need to forgive my mom for this, my dad for that." Like, they helped me see like things that I did not see before, right? So that's why it's really helpful to have like a mirror, like somebody who is pure enough to mirror you, because not everybody is a pure mirror. Some people have their own distortions, their own projections, their own smoke, and all that in the way. So they're just going to confuse you and even, make you sometimes take on what they have. So it's important to be with somebody who's pure and healed, knows how to regulate themselves, knows their own boundaries, knows who they are. So that's why I'm offering people this service now to facilitate and hold that space for you and give you a wider view over your life, energy, and self so that you can see more that you might be blind to, because we have blind spots. And journaling can only go so far. Like we can only go so far in ourselves before it's just like when you're working out, you're only going to push yourself until you start feeling something burn, and then now you stop. So I love that people today are like learning the topic and trying to get into it, but it's like it's not going to really be that effective until you actually get down and through the hard, tough stuff. And you need others to help you with that, you know, professional others, skilled others, people who know what's happening and what you're going through, and what you're experiencing and how to navigate this realm. Okay, because it's a realm. Shadow work is a realm. It's a descended realm that you got to be really strong to go through. Because when I was doing this myself and I retrieved a part of my soul, I literally did a whole ceremony where I had a shed in my backyard, and I visualized this shed as a cave, because in shamanism, it tells you that when we let go of a part of our essence due to impacts that we experience, emotional impacts that we experience in life, that overwhelms us, confuses us, jades us, makes us question who we are, makes us doubt who we are. And so that essence of ourselves flees, and now it's traded places with guilt, shame, fear, depression, whatever. It's like your child, like your inner child, goes and hides in this cave, okay? Or just a part of your essence, a part of your light, goes and hides in this cave, they say in shamanic culture, where lost souls dwell until they are found. So shamanic soul retrieval became another step in my shadow work, where I, like I said, I was visualizing. I did a ceremony where I visualized my shed as this cave, and I literally visualized myself going into this cave, open the door of my shed, and imagine myself pulling out this part of my essence that had left me due to impacts and trauma or whatever it was that I went through that caused this nature of myself to be afraid of being in the light or being seen or being a part of me. And honestly, this form of like internal rejection happens from within, okay? Like we can't blame others for what we decided to do out of survival, okay? Remember, a lot of this happens out of survival. Some of us literally could not survive the things that we experienced unless a part of us did leave in order for us to keep going through life. Some people would actually have nervous breakdowns. So it's actually not a negative thing when you experience something and, like, you know, you lose a part of your essence, and you got to later on deal with that, because it's like, for some people, they actually could have lost their life instead. So it's better for them to be able to move out of that situation or that timeline and then later come back to it with more wisdom, more strength, more reassurance that life will go on because they've been going on, and now retrieve that part of themselves. Now start looking back. Now start, really going deeper within to resolve their own trauma bonds to whatever has happened. And um okay, I basically just said all of that. So yeah, shadow work um really requires you to be 100% vulnerable and real and honest with yourself. Okay, because if you think about mental illness, I don't know why Spirit is leading me to talk about mental illness, because this is not part of my plan. But when you think about mental illness, split personalities, bipolar disorder, just anything that separates your identities, right? This is a very, very, this, I don't know the word for it, but this is a very revealing effect of the shadow and the light. Okay. When people have mental illness, you can basically see what trauma did to them. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's better for people for their essence to leave, because now, because whatever happened to them caused them to question and doubt who they are and become distorted and frazzled and wounded. Now it's like, now it's an imbalance in who they are. And now this imbalance has manifested into an imbalance mentally. And so, yes, they can go to a therapist, psychiatrist, but in ancient times, you would go to a shaman who could spiritually dissect and reveal and heal and retrieve that piece of soul that you lost. Now, when you lose something that's yours, like my poem said, you circle the source that lies within. So it's like your energy is always around you, but and for people with mental illness, it's so scattered because they haven't integrated all of it. They haven't done the shadow work or just been able to receive the right the deeper healing, the deeper soul healing, because I'm going into shamanic healing because it's a soul healing process. Shadow work is just much deeper than journaling, y'all. I'm so dead ass. Like, it's I'm like, it's so much deeper than just journaling. It's like, you really have to have someone there for you. You really have to be able to, like I said, like, if you're working out, you're only going to go so far until you start feeling uncomfortable, then you're going to stop. Just like a physical trainer, a healer, somebody experienced like myself is able to push you past that level of comfort and help you get to that very disgusting, icky, painful, like, root that needs to be pulled, that needs to be treated, that needs to be resolved in whatever way, in order for you to reclaim your power and be able to move forward as a whole version of yourself. It's so much deeper than just looking at what's wrong. and just being like, okay, I'm going to just say some affirmations and just go on about my day. You can. That's helpful. I encourage that. But it's a deeper healing process than that. Usually for me, like after I went through my and like I said, I didn't have nobody helping me. So this is how I knew this was a part of my purpose and calling, because I just had my spirit team. I just had my own inner wisdom where it's like I began to just know and was able to go and do these things. Like I'm sure like people can facilitate me and hold space for me, but I just haven't met those people or connected with those people. So at that time, especially, like it was just me in the motherfucking trenches, like, okay. And mind you guys, like I wasn't working, I was just a stay-at-home mom at the time. So I had nothing but time on my hands to look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't run from myself if I wanted to. All I had was myself. All I had. Literally, all I had. Okay? Um And it was uncomfortable at times, a lot of times. My partner didn't know what the fuck I was going through. I had nobody to know what the fuck I was going through. So, and then, it's such a vulnerable process with yourself that a lot of times you don't really want people to be involved. You don't really want people to see you exposed at that level, truthfully. Um, you don't want people to see. So, quit Instagram with pausing on me. So, shadow work, another way shadow work appeared to me, not only just stepping into my personal power, but it also showed me um, behavioral patterns that I had learned that were not positive. So, I had to be honest with myself years ago that, damn, I manipulate to get what I want, because when I was younger or when this happened, like for example, you clean up, you do all this stuff, and you're like, "Hey, mom," and your mom's like, "What do you want?" I did all this and da 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 da, and I don't want nothing. But you want something, So it's like it's really innocent. But as you get older, if you continue thinking that way, that I need to manipulate others, or I need to, put on this kind of front or show, or just appeal to people in a certain way to get what I want, that is a shadow nature. And when that grows out of control due to greed, due to, um, lust, due to whatever is motivating you, because a lot of those times it's that shadow of being manipulative or vindictive or playing victim. Like these are all shadows. They come from, oh, I'm getting lightheaded. I'm like, what the fuck is that energy? It comes from at one point in your life feeling rejected, feeling like being yourself wasn't enough, feeling like I gotta, to get what I want, I gotta do this or be like this, like you gotta change who you are. And sometimes in these shadow aspects of ourselves, I'm not gonna say like erase them, but it's like you have to be conscientious of like, how am I using this shadow? Because I today, like for me personally, some of those things that I mentioned, I just was like, I don't want to be that person. Like if I can't be 100% honest and tell you the truth and let you know what I want, what I need, then you're not for me. If I gotta like sugarcoat shit or kiss your ass or whatever to get what I want, like I just don't want it. Like fuck it. I'll find it somewhere else where I can just tell somebody straight up, because that's who I am. So that was like my healing in that, where it's like, this is not really who I am. I'm a direct person. I'm gonna tell you what I want. I'm gonna tell you what I need. I'm gonna tell you, okay. But another perspective of like doing shadow work and acknowledging that you do have shadow aspects of yourself that aren't all from emotional impacts that made you trade your essence for gain, or for guilt, shame, or greed and lust, and those darker energies. But there are also shadow aspects that are naturally a part of you that you just have to learn how to use in a healthy and productive way for yourself, because naturally we're going to have both sides. We're going to have different natures of ourselves. But like I said, when something is not socially accepted or deemed negative, then it it affects our relationship to our inner self. And so one of my shadow qualities is which one do I want to use? Okay, I have a temper. I have a temper. One of my shadow qualities is I have a temper. What do I want to? Okay, so when I was a child, like I would like turn the fuck up when I get mad. Okay, like I'd be ready to break shit. I'd be ready to destroy everything around me. I was destructive with this temper. I was very destructive because I didn't know how to use this shadow quality of myself. So as I got older, part of my shadow work also was learning, okay, I know I have a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of strength in me. So, you know, this temper wasn't a negative. It was just like, it happened, like this all happened like literally at the same time when I was doing my shadow work journey, being a stay-at-home mom. But like, I'm gonna use myself as an example again, but I was going to somebody in my immediate family at the time for help with something I was doing, and because they had the skill to do it, and for some reason they just weren't willing to help me, so it triggered me. And I got very angry. I got very upset. And I wanted to be destructive with that anger. You know, I wanted to be argumentative. I wanted, like that was my old way of dealing with my strength, my passion, my temper that I can have. Like, oh, I'm gonna just be destructive. But at this point, I was like, what else can I do? So I ended up learning in my shadow work healing to channel that passion, that intensity, and the fuck off. So let me go work harder. Let me go figure this shit out. Let me go make this shit happen. Cause you ain't about to be the reason why this don't happen. Like I transmuted my I I was like, I thought you said I drug teachers around the road. I was literally concerned. But anyways, whew, um I transmuted, my unhealthy interpretation of my temper into, oh, actually, this is a power that I just haven't really learned how to balance out yet and use it for my own benefit or the benefit of everybody around me. Because what I was trying to do was something to help other people, not just myself. And it's like the only way to get that going was, to use my temper, my passion, my strength to direct my energy into being successful, not being destructive. So I learned how to redirect that instead of, yeah, I see, I read it wrong. So yeah, I learned how to transmute it through shadow work and use it as a personal power instead of like a weakness or a mechanism to hurt others or destroy myself and give up and just affect the things that I loved around me and even myself. So that's just an example. What else? Another shadow aspect of myself would probably be I like to daydream a lot. I like to daydream a lot. So I learned how to write, like instead of just being like just in la la land and looking like I'm just doing nothing and procrastinating or whatever, I learned how to write. I turned that shadow aspect into a gift of creative writing. So there are several ways that either shadow work can be focused on what I need to reclaim as a part of myself, or what I need to learn how to balance within myself to benefit the greater whole. Okay. What else do I have here? So shadow work, to conclude, is a journey inward. Ooh, my foot. I'm like, something just like tickled me. I'm like, whoa, my foot's like tingling bad. So shadow work is a journey inward back to yourself. Okay, your true, empowered, healthy, whole individual self. Where there's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no, like insecurities or just feelings about yourself that are negative or that you feel like you need to hide. In fact, you began to realize that, damn, I'm the creator of my life. And this whole time I've been creating from a place of, I want to be accepted by people that I don't even fucking give a fuck about, that I don't even like, that don't even really like me. We're just using each other. We're just trauma bonding with each other because we all have wounds that are not healed. But as soon as you heal, baby, as soon as you journey into this shadow realm, oh, like I said, everything gonna die around you, because what's not true to you must leave in order for your truth to be reborn. I love ducks. So yeah, that is a general introduction to what is shadow work, and that I will be offering you services where you can engage with me in going on this journey. These times are really about shedding, releasing, renewing, regenerating, um, out with the old and with the new type of vibe. We got eclipses, all of this energy that's like really pushing us to go deeper within and release pressure, release what doesn't serve us, release, 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 shed, 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 until you really come into a place of like true freedom, true power, true self, true love, even. Because like how do people expect to experience true love if like they're only accepting 30% of themselves, and the other sorry, I got all these like little feelings all over my body. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be doing a reading because I'm like, I just feel like there's something that's trying to be told. Like, how do you expect to have true love when you only accept 30% of yourself, and that other 70% is like hidden, like afraid to come out, afraid to be seen, know who you are. So it's like, how do you expect somebody to love who you are if you don't even love who you are yet? You don't even know who you are yet. You don't even know. You ain't even taken time to study yourself, study your likes, your dislikes, what makes you angry, what makes you happy, what makes you excited, what makes you bored. You don't even know who you are. So shadow work is just really like a journey of just uncovering that, like, okay, like beneath all of this stuff that I've acquired to reimagine who I think I am, like, who really am I? And can I really fully love and accept myself? Can I really grow in compassion? Can I really grow in courage? Can I really grow? Yes, you can. I'm here to remind you. So I'll just leave it there, and I'll pull a couple of cards. But I just really want to say, y'all, like, I'm here for you. I love you. I care for you. My purpose is to be in service, like literally. My life purpose is to be of service to you all. So if you are interested in a shadow work session with me, I do advise you to reach out to me directly through my waterhercontact@gmail.com email, or follow me on Instagram at waterher with 2 underscores, and you can reach out to me there. But with these shadow work sessions, it's going to be probably a bi-weekly um, it's going to be bi-weekly sessions, because, or you can do every week. But I am looking for people who are very serious about going on this journey with me and allowing me to show you what I can really help you with transforming in your life within yourself. Okay. Um, so yeah. Also, when it comes to like not making videos, like if you've run into any blockages, because he just said I didn't make more videos. I don't know why like, that thought that you shared there just made me think about like when we get in our own way, like when we stop doing things that we love, that could very well be an indication that your shadow wants your attention, because you can't move forward without, like I said, resolving some type of trauma bond that either is going to be affecting your self-worth, your self-image, your relationships, and more. I'm going to do another part 2 of shadow work as well, probably tomorrow, where I go down a list of wounds that will help people with seeing in like a dimensional way of like how these different wounds manifest in our life, and like what are signs or behaviors or whatever you can analyze in yourself to see what it is that you're going through or what it is that you need to heal and focus on. So for example, like if you have a neglect wound, then it might be a tendency to ignore your own needs, to overwork yourself. So yeah, that's going to be a part 2 video. So we'll save that for tomorrow. But that is my introduction to shadow work, solely off of my wisdom and experience. All right, Spirit, what do you want to say around shadow work? Oh, why do I keep feeling like I'm being touched, and I'm like, I don't see nothing. Anyways, if you have benefited from this, please like this video, subscribe, share it. You can send donations to $sign Kiana Sweet. It's in my description box if you're on YouTube. Kiana, my first name. On my Water Her Instagram, you better know how to spell my first name. And Sweet. Self-image, you started with that. Yeah. Shadow work is really like there to help you look in the mirror. Like you see, ooh, damn, I'm cute. I'm like, you see? But yeah, like looking in the mirror. And I mean like looking with your third eye though. Not just, oh, I'm so good with how I look, but just really seeing like, damn, like, what do I think about myself? What do I think about life? What do I think about my purpose? What do I think about myself? Like, what do I know about myself? Like, who am I? That type of look in the mirror. Okay. All right. So, Spirit, what messages can I share with the collective? I'm going to be on both. So you can either be on Instagram, because I'm on both right now. You can either be on Instagram or you can be on here. Okay, so I'm talking about balancing your light and darkness within. These energies are having a hard time with making a decision because you have two conflicted sides of yourself. Oh my God. And that's a shadow quality. So, okay, this is what I'm doing. For some of us, I'm going to include myself, currently needing to do this shadow work or are in the middle of doing shadow work, or why this will be helpful for you, is because this will be a confirmation for you if this resonates. You may find yourself being very indecisive or unable to fully commit yourself to a decision, to a direction, to a new beginning, to a new start. You may feel like you don't know which way to go because there's two conflicting natures in yourself, where one wants to go that way and another wants to go this way. There's no harmony, cooperation, or unity within yourself. So, as I'm speaking of, shadow work is there with helping you integrate and embrace all of who you are, and basically rectify your relationship you have within, between your masculine and feminine energies, between your light and your shadow, between your truth and your purpose. It's there to help, shadow work is there to help you mend your relationship to yourself in order to have more clarity, confidence, courage on which way to go. Because when you're no longer, like I said in my poem, oh my God, like, guys, going back to the beginning of the live, I said, in the darkest hour, alone with burdening thoughts, waiting to be acknowledged, to end this tug of war, our brains become so worn from habitual patterns, projection of shadow that lurks, thirsty for compassion. So, yeah, I'm seeing some of you are in this tug of war energy where it's like you're wrestling with being old ways of thinking and old coping mechanisms and old, but are not really a part, like they're really not your truth, because your truth is what will help you thrive, okay, into your purpose, into your unique essence and gift that you're here to bring into this world. So yeah, if you're feeling conflicted, or thank you for liking my video, I really appreciate that. If you are feeling conflicted or torn, or unable to make a commitment in which direction you want to go, or who you want to be, or what you want to do, like you start something and then you stop, or you start something and your other side comes in and it's like, you know what, I ain't gonna do this today, I'm gonna do this, i'm uh I'm gonna go do this. No, my Instagram was pausing, stop that. I'm going to go do this instead. Like it's like this conflicting nature of yourself. So you'll find yourself like self-sabotaging. Like you want to make good progress. You want to move forward. You want to commit. You want to go a new direction. You want to have this new beginning, but you have this dual nature of yourself that's like, bitch, sabotage. Bitch, no. Because you need to look at me. It's like, oh, my camera is okay. It's like, nah, you need to look at me. Your shadow's like, nah, you need to look at me. It's like you bobbing and weaving, you trying to move forward and shit. But it's like this shadow is like, like you ain't moving nowhere without me, honey. Okay, so yeah, like if you feel yourself in this energy currently, come work with me. Come work with me. Really though. Because I see here that there's a new beginning that really wants to happen. But like I said, you have to be willing to go through the fire. You have to be willing to let go of those limiting patterns, let go of um, that comfort zone, that coping mechanism, that way that you did things before just to get. Okay, I'm like, my Instagram pausing makes me sad. Just to get by, you gotta, let go of those things. Like you gotta be willing to fully dead old parts of yourself, or just learn how to use them to your advantage. Like, okay, I hear you, other side, like you want to go chill, but we ain't chilling until I get this work done. Okay, because there is a way to balance your natures, um and I'll help you learn that. But okay, what else? I will read the poem again. Oh yeah, because this conflicted nature you have within yourself, it's also affecting your manifestations, which you're in your head stressed about because it's like you're waiting and waiting, or you feel stuck and stagnant because it's like you're in your own way. So it is important. Like shadow work is also something that helps you achieve enlightenment, which means it shows you the way forward. It shows you how you can break through um, certain limitations and align with potential that will enable you to manifest things miraculously. Okay, but you have to come into union with yourself. You have to come into agreements with yourself. You have to come into acceptance with yourself. um, Please email me or DM me and we can talk with prices and everything. So, like, yeah, if you find yourself feeling stressed out in your head, like not understanding why you're not able to fully move forward or make a change in your life happen, if you find yourself like your manifestations are slow, or it's because you have you're still like shadow work is required for you to learn how to balance, learn, figure out which one. If it's not balancing, it's what are you going to let go of, what are you going to sacrifice and change in order to evolve, in order to have this fresh new start, to have this fresh new beginning, this clean slate, this new chapter. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because it's kind of getting long, but I'm gonna come back tomorrow for a part 2, like I said, to come with like a diagram or a breakdown of like how these different shadow aspects of ourselves can express through our mind, our body, our spirit. I'm also going to talk about the shadow that is naturally a part of us, um, that we just have to learn how to balance as well, so that because you're because like I use myself, like I have a temper, and my temper helps me now today with being able to get shit done instead of destroying everything around me. It's like, no, temper, let's channel you into being productive instead. So it's like you got to learn, how to direct your energy, how to control your energy, how to move your energy. It's this shadow work is here to help you be a master of yourself. And we're going to leave it there, and I will share the poem again. Um, in the darkest hour, alone with burdening thoughts, waiting to be acknowledged, to end this tug of war, our brains become so worn from habitual patterns, projection of shadow that lurks thirsty for compassion, instead dismissed by reaction or simply ignored. How many distractions before judgment is destructive when fingers point, emotions spread like wildfires. You circle the source that lies within. Truth denied, pinning the heart to its slow demise. You blame others for what you feel inside. Healing is honoring the flow of blood that keeps you alive. So let those feelings flood. Then truth becomes light, casting shadows into foresight. Peace, peace, Slaughterhead fam. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming to work with me too, and allow me to hold space and share my gift with you. Peace.